sometimes things get to be too much.
Today, we want to share 8 phrasal verbs that you can use to describe when things don't exactly work out, whether it's too much or things fail.
Let's talk about it. What's up, guys? Welcome to Waggle Friends English. This series on phrasal verbs is all about expanding your vocabulary to help you get to use these phrasal verbs that are very difficult to learn for most people. So our approach is to help you by introducing them by context. When would you use these words? Instead of learning all of the phrasal verbs that share the same word and then have the different prepositions, no, we don't do that. That's not very good for your brain. But learning by context, learning about situations in which you would use this, and then practicing with the different synonyms and the different phrasal verbs that work in that situation is a great way to work with how your mind remembers things.
The reason why phrasal verbs can be so complicated is because with that verb and the preposition smashed together, it's really hard to keep your mind around the fact that the preposition is part of the verb. So oftentimes it has an object with it. So it's confusing of like, oh, should this up be part of the object of the preposition? It's confusing. And another level of confusion, sometimes whatever you're talking about can slide in between the verb and the preposition. So all in all, this is why we do these phrasal verbs in this channel. We have a list of them. If you're interested, you can check it out right there. But let's get into these phrasal verbs where you're going to talk about a context that's just, it's a lot. It's a lot.
The first one here is to be snowed under.
Ooh, like chilly outside.
No, like there's an avalanche of work and it's covering you and you could barely breathe.
Yeah, no, you would use this on an office setting where somebody comes up to you and say, hey man, can you show up to that thing? Can you come on Saturday? And be like, man, I would love to, but I'm just snowed under all this work that I have on my desk right now. There's no way that I can get to that.
Can we use this with time? Like, my schedule is too full. Can I say that I'm snowed under with things on my schedule by time?
Not normally time aspect. It's normally assignments that have to be done or tasks that have to be done. So if you guys have a lot of stuff going on in your life, snowed under is a great one to use specifically in the work context. So you could use it for some things like your kids and chores and all these things. But normally the context is associated in the office workplace.
The second one is bog down.
Ooh.
Anybody who's walked through a swamp or a marsh or really just tons of mud, like I'm talking about like deep mud, and you're trying to walk through it, we call that being bogged down physically because you're walking through a bog and it's difficult to move. If you haven't walked through mud like that, perhaps you've tried to walk through water, like you're swimming and you get up closer to the beach or the shoreline, or maybe you get to the shallow end of the pool and you're trying to walk and how difficult it is. Now imagine all of that being mud.
Yeah.
It's kind of nearly impossible. You can move, but just barely, and sometimes your movement actually makes it worse. That's the picture we have with bogged down.
So this physical picture then relates to the metaphorical picture of doing all these things. You're slowed down, you're weighed down. You're trying to go ahead on your tasks or your schedule or all the things that are happening, and you just feel bogged down. It's a very emotional word because it's a very picturesque word of saying, man, I'm just bogged down right now. I don't think I can handle much more. Otherwise, I would be stopping and not progressing forward.
Or you could say, like, I'm sorry, I can't do that right now because it's going to bog me down even more, right? So, or you could say, I'm going to say no to that opportunity because I'm afraid it's going to bog me down. Right? Maybe you're doing okay. Your plate is full. You're still able to do all the tasks and the responsibilities you have, but maybe one more is going to bog you down, right? This is a way that we can use this.
And those that are really clever and have a good ear would hear that Amber just put the pronoun in between the bog and the down. It's going to bog me down. I don't want to bog you down. This is one of those cases where we actually prefer to have the object, in this case, you, me, he, she, in between the verb and the pronoun. Bog me down. I don't want to bog you down. It's going to bog her down.
Right. But when we use it as an adjective, I don't want to feel bogged down. Notice I use the passive there. So I'm feeling a bit bogged down here lately. Or I have too many things to do, so I feel bogged down.
One thing to be careful about with this phrasal verb is that we don't use the object after the verb. So you wouldn't say, I don't want to bog down her. It's just awkward feeling.
Not unless bogged down is at the end of a sentence. She's feeling bogged down. And again, that's with the adjective form, right? I'm bogged down. You could say that, for example. But otherwise, if you have an object, you're going to put the object in between.
Yeah. Do not ever say, don't bog down me.
Don't do that. The next one is to load down, okay? So a good example of this could be maybe there's a heavy set of tasks, okay? Maybe it's one project, but there's many, many tasks inside. It's going to take a lot of work and a lot of effort, and you are loaded down with it, meaning it was given to you. It's your responsibility to do it.
A good opposite of this is load me up. So if you have a lot of free time in your schedule, if you have open hands and you're on a work site and you're holding your hands open, you can say, load me up, whether it's loading up with bricks of firewood or whatever it is. You're looking at a person, you say, I have nothing to do, load me up. But if you use it in the down, what you're saying is, I feel loaded down. That's the adjective form. I feel loaded down and I can't take any more.
Yeah, to load somebody down with something is you're giving a significant amount of things to them. So to load me up means, hey, I'm available, I can take more on my plate. But then if you feel loaded down, it's because you've probably got so much it's weighing you down. Hence using the down.
Little fun caveat here is careful not to confuse this one with download. That's a completely different term, but if you switch those things around, download is a computer genre, computer context, instead of this one would be a work context of I feel loaded down right now.
Think about taking a donkey and just loading that donkey up. There's a lot of stuff. You load the donkey up with things until maybe they're having trouble walking or something like that, then they're loaded down.
The next one is pop up. And this means when work just keeps on occurring all of a sudden, like popcorn, where it's like, oh, nice, I have to do this now. And oh, yes, now I have to do that. Yay, now I have to do another thing. Work keeps popping up.
Fun fact, we like to use the game whack-a-mole, okay, where you have this little board with different holes in it and something will pop up. Classically, a stuffed animal like a mole popping up out of those holes, and you have a hammer, you're supposed to hit the mole. Whack a mole. That's what it's called. So when we are talking about work things and things just keep popping up, just lots of different things that you didn't anticipate, you didn't expect, and they keep coming, they keep popping up. We say like, it feels like I'm playing whack-a-mole at work, or that I'm putting out fires. That's another great idiom here. It's like, there's so many different wildfires popping up, like in the middle of summer in the wilderness. And so what happens is the fires are popping up and you're running around putting out fires. We can use the same imagery for work. So you can run around and things are popping up at work, a lot of things popping up, then perhaps you're playing whack-a-mole at work or putting out fires.
So let's say all this work keeps popping up. Well, something that often happens when work gets too much and you get snowed under is that you get behind on your work. And this is not a good place to be because it means that you have work lined up. It's in the running, your docket is full, you are loaded down, and you got a lot of stuff to do. So you are just getting behind on the deadlines. You cannot catch up.
And we do say specifically get behind. So we don't want to put our object in between there. We don't say get the work behind. We say get behind in work or to get behind on work.
The next phrasal verb is fall behind, which is very similar to get behind, except for fall behind has a very strong mental image of people running a race. It's neck and neck, it's tied, it's getting really close, and then one person falls. Of course, that person's going to lose the race. There's no way that they can get back up and still finish the race ahead of their competitor when the competitor is so far ahead. This is not a good phrase to use, but it does carry that strong mental image of I fell behind on my work and now I have to work my way out of a hole.
And by that, you mean like, it's not that it's a bad image to use. It's just really sucky when you have to use it.
Yeah.
The next phrasal verb we want to talk about today is carried over, as in your work is carried over to the next week.
This is a really good phrasal verb because it shows a little bit of perspective in English where you can say, man, I have to do this now. Otherwise, I have to carry this over to the next work week. So for example, this has similar feelings to the adjective make up assignments. So if you don't do your assignments and you run out of time, then maybe tomorrow or next week you have to do make up assignments. So that means you carry over from last week, from the previous week, assignments into this week. You don't get to scratch them off the calendar. You still have to do them, but now you have to carry them over forward into the future because they have to get done.
Now, a direct synonym here would be rollover. So you have meetings and tasks in the meeting that get rolled over to the next meeting, or you have tasks this week that you didn't get to, so they roll over into next week's itinerary or next week's schedule. So this rollover, carryover, these are really common terms, really common phrasal verbs. To have makeup work or makeup points in a meeting or makeup tasks to do, that's also quite common. So these are really helpful synonyms that you can use interchangeably in a work setting. Just be careful not to get snowed under with all those rollover tasks.
The last one that we're going to talk about today is boss around. This is slightly off from getting behind on tasks, but it definitely has the implications that you have a lot of work because somebody is telling you to do all these things and you have to do them. So they boss you around saying, do A, do B, do C. And I don't care about what you think about the deadlines because if you don't do them, they're going to carry over anyway.
Yeah, to boss around. We say this with kids too, right? Kids will boss each other around. And notice that I can put the object in between bossing around, or I can put it after. So she bosses him around, or she likes to boss around the other kids.
Another way to describe this in a way that's not using a phrasal verb is just saying bossy. If that person's a bossy person, that's using the adjective form. But it's a really very common word to say to a person just maybe being a little too pushy.
All right, so that's it today. We have those 8 phrasal verbs plus some in our explanations. So we hope that helps you guys to be able to explain this feeling of overwhelm that happens. And by the way, these aren't just at the office. This isn't just for work. You could use this with chores at home, tasks at home, family events, different busy seasons in life. You could use this for school and academics. There's so many things you can use these for. But specifically that feeling of just overwhelm, of things getting to be too much, of trying to describe what's going on in the workplace or in your different situations at home or at school. Yeah, these are great phrasal verbs to have.
And like a lot of our phrasal verb videos, guys, don't just, click off to the next video. We get it. Time is limited. But if you really want to gather these phrasal verbs and really get a hold of them, try to use them in a context, whether it's in your work week this week or right now where you put pen to paper and you try to get an example sentence down yourself. That's a great first step into really gathering vocabulary words. So we challenge you to do that right after this video or even down below in the comments. Try to use one of these phrasal verbs in your own sentence to describe the busyness of work and what's that feeling like to be snowed under.
That's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you next time.
Bye.